Welcome to the MetPro Method podcast. I'm your host, Crystal O'Keefe. Today, I'm joined by MetPro clients Rachel Cook and Rebecca Lobello. And Rebecca and Rachel, they have more in common than just being MetPro clients. They are also sisters. And today, they are going to join me to discuss how having a partner within the MetPro process can be such a huge help. So thank you both for joining me so much today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
My pleasure. So I'm curious, Rachel, Rebecca, what made each of you decide to join MetPro?
Yeah, so I think I started first with MetPro, and it was really from listening to your other podcast about Peloton and having Angelo on, giving tips every week. And what he was saying really made a lot of sense to me. It was very scientifically driven, and being an engineer made sense. And then I actually loved hearing how you both were having success on it for you and your husband, and it was like sustained, because I've been on many different programs throughout my life, and it hasn't been sustainable. So that was kind of the biggest thing. And then when I actually did the consultation call and they kind of explained the process and what it looked like, it was something that I could totally do in my life. And it really seemed like it would have healthy behaviors for me. And that's really what got me interested.
And Rebecca, how about you?
So it was interesting. So I didn't realize Rachel was signing up for MetPro, and I was doing the research to kind of understand a little bit more about it as well, because I've also listened to your other podcast too, Crystal.
Thank you both for listening.
Yeah. So I was looking more into the details around MetPro. And then one day, I think Rachel and I were talking, and she was like, yeah, I signed up for it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was looking at it too. Like, maybe I will too, because it is something totally doable for my lifestyle as well.
So let's see. Rachel, when you talked to Rebecca and you said, hey, I signed up, did you have to like talk her into like signing up with you, or like, because since you signed up a little bit before her, what was that conversation like, the change there?
Yeah, I can remember it because it was definitely a lifestyle change for me. Like, I had to change and be prepared over the weekend for the coming week. Like, it was commitment to me. And I remember mentioning to her when we were talking to her, I was like, you have to be dedicated. It has to be consistent, and it has to be an actual choice. And so I was kind of making sure she came in with both feet to make sure she fully understood the commitment needed. And I was excited to have someone part of it, as well as not just having my coach for accountability, but my sister too. Being part of it was pretty cool too.
So Rebecca, what has your journey been like so far with MetPro?
It's definitely unlike anything I've tried before. I'm actually able to stay consistent on the plan. So I've been on MetPro, I think, since February. So about, 6 months now?
Yeah.
The consistency is the key, right? Having the meal preps, like do my meal preps on Sunday too as well. But it's just been a complete lifestyle change, as Rachel said too as well. And it's nice to have that support, not just from inside my house, but like also outside too as well. So I can reach out at any time and ask for help.
Yeah, I bet it's nice that knowing you have multiple avenues that you can reach out to. And Rachel, how about you? What's your journey been like?
Yeah, so I started back in January, and I did about 4 months working with a coach full time. And it was super beneficial. I lost over 20 pounds in those couple of months, and it was huge improvement, not just from losing the weight, but actually being consistent with it and being sustained. So that was really great. I thought I had enough confidence that I could do it on my own. So I stopped the full-time coach. Sadly, I did not have the full self-control. So I'm back using just the app, which has been really beneficial. And just having that consistency of logging what I was eating, having the math tell me exactly what to eat and what amounts. So I'm still continuing to lose on the app, still having discussions with Becky if I have any questions for the types of food I'm eating. Hey, what would you think this would be bucketed as? Or different questions that I have. So fully believe in the program. We've actually convinced our mom to also look into it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's definitely been part of our lives now. We went on vacation, and Becky brought her scale to measure things out with us, and definitely a full change for how we view food, how we fuel our workouts, and definitely seeing the actual proof in the scale as well. So it's pretty cool.
That's really exciting. And I have to say, your coach would be very proud of you for taking your scale.
Thanks, Crystal. Many thanks to you.
I was going to say too, Crystal, anytime she does have questions and I don't know the answer, I do feed them through you.
That's
I'm like,
what we're here
that's a good
for.
question. I don't know. Let me ask Crystal.
But that's what we're here for. You know, I think I've told most people this, that like once you're on my roster, I feel like you're on my roster forever. So like you can reach out to me directly, Rachel. It's okay. I give you permission.
I won't be sneaking questions in anymore.
I love that you involve each other. And so I'm curious, what do you guys think are the biggest benefits of having each other as part of the journey instead of just a coach?
For me, it's that support system, and we challenge each other Rachel's based out in Texas and I'm in New Jersey. So we still not really compete, but we motivate each other to not just eat well, but to exercise too as well. I actually am the one who convinced Rachel to get a Peloton. So we do a lot of the challenges. So we do the Power Zone challenges together. We'll ride on the weekends together, and just having that support system too, just both in diet and in exercise really helps, because we push each other to, you know, what we're capable of accomplishing.
I love that. Rachel, do you think there's any other benefits, or do you feel like she covered them all?
I think the other one I can think of is when I've gone off plan or been inconsistent, and when we talk, she's still on plan and making good choices. It kind of lets me have that kick in the butt saying, oh, no. There's people that are doing this. And I have a consistency buddy to make sure I'm good to go. And even when we were on vacation together, she prepared snacks that met both of our plans. So it definitely helps to kind of have that reminder that it's totally possible and it's okay to trip up, but getting back on plan and getting consistent again. She helps me with that by reminding me she's doing the same thing. So it kind of has that sisterly bond there, knowing that we're in it together. And even if I have a celebration planned or have some chips with dinner, that she's on plan kind of reminds me that I can get back on plan too.
I feel like I saw a little guilty look with the chips with dinner.
Yeah, chips for dinner. I loved it though. You'll see a +1 junk food for me.
That's awesome. Do I remember correctly that you guys, when you went on vacation together with your whole family, that you also worked out together as well?
We did. Yeah. We went for what was like a 5.5 mile run down to the beach and back.
I think that's awesome. And I love the picture of you too. That was really great. It's so fun to see that. It's nice to see people having fun. To me, I think that's another aspect of it. It's like not only the accountability, but that like somebody knows what you're going through. So whenever there are moments to have food that you're working kind of like within a little bit more of restriction, trying to be a little bit more careful, you can still make it fun. And you guys understand that in a way other people in your family may not understand.
Oh, definitely.
Do you guys feel like there's any potential downsides to having somebody else that you know doing the program with you?
I know for me, in the back of my head, I always have to be having self-talk about not being competitive with her. I think when I've tried to lose weight in the past, especially with my husband, I would be shocked at how much weight he would lose right away and be like, okay, well, I'm not losing that much, and have that competitive vibe. And so I do have to remind myself that like I'm not in competition with her. I'm in competition with my best self for that day, and to remember to cheer her on and be a cheerleader for her and focus on that. Because it is very easily in my mentality to slip back into the competitive mode and be self-doubting myself. With that much talk that we have about our health, it's very easy for me to do that. And it's good to kind of self-remind myself, but that's definitely one of the pitfalls is being conscious of that behavior of myself for sure.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm competitive too. It's that type A thing, you know, plus your sisters. Yep. So Rebecca, do you have any other downsides you could think of, or is it just easy for you because you're competitive?
No, I mean, I'm in the same boat Rachel is too, right? Like I just have to constantly remind myself that I'm just here to cheer her on for her journey, and it's her journey and not mine. And I'm on my own separate journey.
Oh, I love that.
It's a constant reminder for ourselves. Do
you guys ever say that to each other? Do you ever have to do you ever see the other one struggling and say like, I see this and I just want you to know you have to work on it with yourself?
I think we definitely repeat mantras in our group chat to each other to make sure that we're following the same mentality and having those reminders to each other for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you think like somewhere down the road, long time from now, when you decide you've got this down pat and you leave MetPro, do you feel like you'll continue to have a connection and accountability to each other?
Absolutely. I mean, she's my sister for one, right? So yeah, I mean, we talk almost through text message almost every day. So I think we'll still always have some sort of form of communication and support for each other.
I love that.
Yeah, I think too, it's been beneficial to me to push each other on. So we did Robin Arzon's 30 for 30 challenge in June and texting each other what our workouts were every day. And there was some days where I just wanted to sit on the couch after work and I did not want to go for my walk or go for my ride. And so I definitely think even after leaving MetPro, those challenges or those conversations and pushing each other definitely get me to be my strongest self. So I've found so much benefit having that kind of workout buddy with me, the accountability buddy, making good decisions. And for the downfalls, like when I would gain a pound, like I was right on the phone with Becky talking about it, being like, okay, this could just be water weight. Just follow the plan, be consistent. All of that's so beneficial to have that support system because it's definitely, I've tried it on my own. It's much harder to definitely see forever talking about our workouts and definitely our eating habits from here on out for sure.
I'm curious, has there been anything through just MetPro, the MetPro journey in general, that either of you have been surprised at, or like that maybe Rachel, you found that Rebecca was doing it differently, or Rebecca, you found Rachel was doing it differently and you were surprised by that?
I think the one thing that surprised me was she eats for lunch. So
That's even what I have for lunch.
You would always have like yogurt with like berries or something like that. I cannot be sustained on yogurt during lunch. Like that is not something I gravitate towards. So I have been very surprised about what she picks and chooses for her different macros. I think that's been the most surprising thing for me.
It's a lot of food though. The yogurt and the berries and the carrots.
It is. That's a lot of, it's a lot that's going to like fill you up. So it's going to last you a long time because you're kind of eating. That probably takes a while to eat versus like a couple ounces of chicken. What about you? I feel like maybe you've run into something that Rachel's been done that surprised you.
Yeah, I mean, just the conversation she's had with her coach, right? I mean, we share the same coach. So sometimes Rachel will be like, oh, did Crystal tell you A, B, or C? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, now I got to go ask Crystal about A, B, and C and see what's going on over there.
Rachel just asked it a different way.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
But I'm very proud of Rachel and her journey with MetPro. Like I was, and I'm sure she was shocked too as well. The amount of weight she was able to drop, like within the 4 months that she was on the program, with working with the coach, like amazing. And I'm super proud of her for that.
Absolutely. I'm proud of you too, Rachel. I'm proud of you too, Rebecca. You guys have both done so great. It's tough to lose as women. It's tough to lose as a woman who is getting to the 40 range of age. And then whenever you add kids and summertime and, just all of the things we do, it's hard. And our bodies they're just made a little bit differently than men. Our bodies are evolutionarily, that's probably not a word, programmed to hold on to fat in a different way than men's bodies are. And while that makes sense to me, it doesn't make it any less frustrating. And so you both have done really great. It's a lot of really hard work and it does take consistency. It does take dedication. And to be able to do that day in, day out, that's not an easy thing to do. So you both should be proud of yourselves.
Thank you.
Do you feel like there's anything else that maybe you want to make sure that the listeners know about yourselves or about MetPro in case they're jumping in for the first time, they're hearing about MetPro for the first time and you're like, oh yeah, I want to make sure they know this?
I think for me, definitely meal prepping was kind of overwhelming at first, especially not knowing if my plan was going to change or if I was going to have some surprise football scrimmage pop up for my family. And so it was really overwhelming trying to plan out I tried at first to do a week at the time, but Crystal, you taught me how to only do a couple of days at a time and kind of make one kind of protein, one kind of carb. And that really helped me take the stress and the overwhelmingness off of it, and definitely made it something that's actually helping me being organized for the week, and like one less decision I have to make in the day for what's coming up. And that's been beneficial. But definitely at first I made it into this kind of mountain to meal plan for the whole week. And it doesn't have to be, it just has to be simple and something to kind of take those decisions away from me and cause less stress in the end.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Because I think everybody struggles with meal prep at the beginning, because it's just like anything else you do for the first time. It's a skill. And so the first time I did it, I know it took me like over an hour, maybe closer to 2 hours the first time. And it's a lot. And now it's like 10 minutes. Boom, I got it. How about you, Rebecca?
So the one thing that I focused on with MetPro is that I look at it not as a diet. I look at it as, a meal plan. A lot of people come up to me and like, even my daughter, she'll be like, oh, your diet. And I'm like, we don't call it a diet. It's a meal plan. Because I take a look at it as that, I want to sustain this for after I leave MetPro too as well. So trying to convince, trying to change her mindset too as well. So that's something that I like when people tell me that I'm on a diet, it's like, no. This is a meal plan, just staying consistent with how I'm eating and eating healthy and eating the right foods in the right amount.
And I think that's important, especially for parents who have children watching. We want to be mindful that they're eating healthily. Yes, that's of course part of it, but also that they don't feel like we're depriving ourselves or restricting how we're eating or the amount that we're eating. It's like, yeah, we're making this choice to eat healthy foods 80% of the time. And then there's going to be the time that, mom or dad decides to have a drink and maybe a piece of chocolate cake, and that's okay. Like there's no bad or good. It's just, you said it, consistency. So I think both of you bring up really excellent points. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Rebecca and Rachel. Listeners, that's all for this week. You can find all the MetPro Method episodes anywhere you get podcasts, or you can go to metpro.co/podcast. Please be sure to follow the show and rate and review. That lets other people know what they can expect. And you can learn more about MetPro at metpro.co. I'm your host, Crystal O'Keefe, and I'll be back next week. Until then, remember, consistency is key.